Hey, what is up, guys? This is gonna be my sixth attempt, and I think this attempt should work out pretty well. Um, if you have been wondering where I was trying to make the videos, but it failed. But if you have been wondering why there was no Raw review, main event review, and TNA review, I was away Monday through Wednesday. I went to convention at Sturbridge, Massachusetts, and I actually was enjoyed myself. I was gonna take this camera that's in the laptop right now. I was gonna take this camera right here, but I couldn't take that camera because I left it here. So I would have taken it if I could. But it's okay. Life's good. But what would I have recorded though? What I did though was I ate McDonald's. Listened to a boring meeting. It wasn't really boring, but it was like I couldn't really hear where it was, and I was sitting where I couldn't even see. And then the banquet, we had someone named, and I'm actually going to look him up right now. I think his name was Josh Ship, but I'm going to check it right now. So I'm sorry if this has to interrupt the wrestling talk. This really has nothing to do with wrestling. Ship, I'm going to go on images. Josh Ship. I think this should be him. John Ship. I'm not finding him, guys, but I couldn't find him, and but yeah, he came in as a motivational speaker, and he was pretty funny. But now I'm here to talk about wrestling. I'm not gonna really give reviews on Raw, main event, and TNA. This is just gonna be like my thoughts on it, like the stuff that I like. Pretty much is gonna be on here, not the stuff I don't like. So let's just get to work. I have my phone right here. Let's get to work. So, the first thing I'm going to be talking about is CM Punk and Undertaker's feud. This is just like a great feud, I think. This is the Streak versus the 434 WWE Championship reign. That is honestly what I think. We have CM Punk, who is hold the WWE Championship for 434 days, beating guys like Alberto Del Rio, Dolph Ziggler, Chris Jericho, John Cena, Daniel Bryan, Kane, Big Show, and so on. And they were in matches like street fights, elimination chambers, triple threats, Hell in a Cell, those kind of matches. And I really liked this feud. I liked how they actually had CM qualifying match for it. Like it was like for a championship. You're qualifying to see who faces them. But this is bigger than a championship, though. It ended up being CM Punk versus Randy Orton versus Sheamus versus The Big Show, and the winner would face Undertaker at WrestleMania. And CM Punk ended up winning that match because that was the night the Taker returned, and they had a face-off. And in that face-off, we end up seeing Undertaker, an Undertaker who is just a guy that is undefeated at WrestleMania. He's beaten guys like Edge, Triple H 3 times, Shawn Michaels twice, Kane twice, Batista, Randy Orton, Big Show, A-Train, also known as Tensai or Sweet Tea today. Guys like that. And those are guys are like Hall of Famers. And some of them future Hall of Famers. Like another Hall of Famer I can actually name is Ric Flair. And the list just goes on. And they had a face-off. And after that, unfortunately, Paul Bearer died. Very good wrestler, well, a very good manager, made Undertaker, Kane, and Mankind, also known as Mick Foley, Drew Love, and Cactus Jack, who they were today. And I think he was also, I also heard that he was also known as Percy Pringle. And it's kind of sad, and it's kind of sad that they had to go, like that he had to go. But and you had Undertaker come out and he paid tribute to Paul Bearer. Then you have CM Punk come out and interrupt the Undertaker. I thought that was actually pretty cool. And they didn't really go too far with that because why would you want to go too far with that? I mean, come on. I mean, there was a recent event that just happened, so everyone's going to be touched by it. But I liked how but yeah, he just kind of mentioned how he's just going to be the Undertaker at Mania. And then after that, you have CM Punk versus Kane in a no disqualification match. Now at first I was a little bit upset because CM Punk had lost to Kane by a chokeslam, so I was a little bit upset. And then you have Undertaker and Kane paying tribute to Paul Bearer. But then you have CM Punk redeem himself by attacking Kane from behind with the urn that Paul Bearer used to carry around. And and you have him escape and play mind games with the Undertaker. Great stuff right there. Anyways, but then you have the next week. Undertaker warns CM Punk that if he doesn't give his urn back, there will be no mercy on his soul at WrestleMania. And CM Punk is taunting the Undertaker, mocking Paul Bearer, and I actually think he did a pretty good job mocking Paul Bearer by having the high-pitched voice and him opening and closing the urn. I thought that was a pretty good, nice touch right there. And what I also liked is you had CM Punk. Not just that though, but you have him as he's talking about how if Undertaker is counted out disqualified, that's still a loss, and how if Undertaker answers to a higher calling, and how he's the best in the world at WrestleMania. He's throwing the urn like hot potato, and I thought that was pretty cool. Then you have him accidentally drop the urn, showing that CM Punk is playing mind games with the Undertaker. Then this Monday night on Raw, you have CM Punk come out and he says that he is undefeated at he's never lost at Mania. And at first I was thinking, oh, he's probably talking about the Money in the Bank ladder match, but he wasn't. He was talking about how he pinfall submissions. I was thinking he never got pinned, but he did. He lost to Rey Mysterio at WrestleMania 26 and Randy Orton at WrestleMania 27. So I don't understand what he was talking about right there. But he had him say that he didn't take the urn out of disrespect for Paul Bearer. He took the urn because it's the Undertaker's powers. That holds the Undertaker's powers, and I thought that was pretty nice stuff. Nice stuff right there. Then you have him say, then he's expecting the Undertaker to come out and tell him to rest in peace, but he doesn't rest and he doesn't know the meaning of peace. And then Undertaker comes out and he attacks CM Punk. So I really liked how they did physical contact with this. And I think that's what they were missing last year when they did Undertaker and Triple H. There really wasn't any physical contact. It was just promos, which I was fine, but I think that they should have had a little bit of physical contact. What else? And so yeah, I think next week though they should have CM Punk take a cut promos and have CM Punk say that at Hell in a Cell 2009, I lost you and I had to scratch and claw my way back up because I couldn't do because I had trouble getting back up to the top. And then I'm back on top, and I'm gonna knock you down at WrestleMania and take your streak. I think that would be nice. And have CM Punk maybe get an advantage on Taker by hitting him with a microphone or something. Do something like that. I think that would be nice. Then the next thing I liked was Chris Jericho versus Dolph Ziggler with AJ Lee and Big E Langston. Now on Raw, the match was supposed to happen later on, but Fandango ended up coming out, and Chris Jericho came out and attacked him, so they just decided to have the match then. It was fine. It was actually a good match. These guys have had good matches at SummerSlam. They've had good matches at, they had a good match the next night on Raw when Chris Jericho was forced to leave and go tour with Fozzy. So I think they did a pretty good job with this match. You had Ziggler get the abdominal stretch, the jumping DDT, everything he could. Biggie Langston tried to get involved, and Chris Jericho does a springboard leg drop. And then Chris Jericho gets him in the walls of Jericho, the Lion Tamer version, and Dolph Ziggler ends up tapping out. Biggie Langston attacks Jericho from behind and hits him with that weird finisher. And then you have Fandango come out. And at first, I'm actually kind of wishing, though, I'm still wishing instead that they went with Dolph Ziggler and Chris Jericho at Mania. Instead of having this, I was like, oh, this is going to be terrible. It's going to not be good. It's going to be awful. It wasn't that bad. This actually isn't that bad. The Chris Jericho Fandango feud, Dolph Ziggler definitely should be doing something better at Mania than having a tag team title match. I actually like the fact that they're actually doing this feud. You had Fandango, you built him up to come, and he finally comes, and you can't say his name, so he doesn't make his debut. Then you have Chris Jericho make fun of his name by calling him Fandumbo, Fandusco, all that kind of stuff. And then you have him say, wait, I want my movie tickets for Dead Man Down. That was great stuff right there. So I thought that was great. Then on SmackDown, you have him Fandango cost Chris Jericho a match against Jack Swagger on SmackDown. And you have him just lay out Jericho. You have him hit him with a leg drop. And I thought that was great stuff. Tonight you had him dance around Jericho. Same thing he did. He did attack him. And later on in the night we found out that it's going to be Fandango versus Chris Jericho at WrestleMania. Who do I think will win the match? Chris Jericho could win because of the experience factor. But I think, though, that they should go with Fandango because he's the new star, he's the new superstar in the roster. I actually kind of enjoyed him because the thing that he has that Brodus Clay doesn't have, and now Tensai, which they call him Sweet Tea, is that he can get aggressive. Like he was aggressive. He was ready to tear Chris Jericho apart, and I think at Mania we can actually see a good match between Fandango and Chris Jericho. I think, personally. I honestly think we could see a great match from those guys. And I think Chris Jericho, though, would be a perfect person for Fandango to be in his first match. I was like, why are they not having him face Kofi? Why are they not having him face Zack Ryder, Justin Gabriel? I think, though, that Chris Jericho could really make Fandango look... It could really make Fandango look great if you have him beat Jericho. But if Jericho loses, at least make Fandango look strong winning the match. So that's my thoughts right there. And now I'm going to talk about the Shield and Randy Orton and Sheamus and the Mystery Partners match. I like this. I actually like this. I like the Shield. I love the Shield. It's not like it's just a group. It's kind of like Evolution. Everybody matters in that group. What I think they should do, though, is have their own storylines like they did with Evolution. Like Randy Orton would feud with Mick Foley, feud with Edge, feud with all these kinds of people. Batista, I think he feuded with Shawn Michaels once. And he probably feuded with, and I don't really know anybody else he really feuded with. Ric Flair, Shawn Michaels, Randy Orton when he came out of the group. Triple H leader, so he feuded with everybody, but at least everybody had their own feuds. It wasn't just like they always came out as a group. The Shield, I think, should do that same thing, and have them hold some championships, and have them actually hold all the belts. Not on Raw, but have Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose hold the Tag Team Championships, and Roman Reigns hold the Intercontinental or United States. Stuff like that. That would really make the Shield look great. But they really are but they're making them look great regardless, though. You have them come out and you have them saying that they're here to stop injustices. You have them lay out guys like Ryback, John Cena, The Rock, The Miz, Randy Orton, Sheamus, guys like that. And I'm like, oh, this is looking pretty good. Then during a match between Randy Orton and the Big Show, the Shield comes out and attacks Orton. Sheamus tries to make the save. Roman Reigns bumps into Big Show, and instinctively, Big Show just knocks out Roman Reigns because he was just kind of out of it. He was just knocking out anybody he could. Then the Shield retreats, and then they get their redemption back on the app, which I don't understand why they would put it on the app. I can actually understand because it was because they wanted to end the show with Undertaker and Punk. So, but after Big Show had the fatal 4-way with winner facing Taker, the Shield came out, attacked him, and triple powerbomb on him, which was great. Then Big Show on the next SmackDown blamed Randy Orton and Sheamus because they would not have been down there if it wasn't. He wouldn't have this problem if it wasn't for the Shield. And then what you did was you had the Big Show. I really like this. You had Big Show go one-on-one with Seth Rollins, and you did what you did on the app. I think they wanted to put it on live TV. And then on SmackDown, the Shield challenged Randy Orton and Sheamus to find a partner, and to face them in a 6-man tag team match at WrestleMania. And Big Show wanted to be their partner because he's had his problems with the Shield. So then, but they had already picked Ryback to be their partner, and the reason why they had to do Ryback is because Ryback and Mark Henry were supposed to have a match on SmackDown, but they needed that as an excuse so they could hold off until Mania. Then what you did was you had the Shield attack Orton backstage in the locker room. Then the Shield attacked Ryback so Mark Henry and Ryback couldn't have the match. Then what you did was you had the Shield. Well, Vicky Guerrero took Ryback off the team at WrestleMania so he could go feud with Mark Henry. So Randy Orton and Sheamus are left without a partner. And Big Show wants to be their partner, and he's doing everything he can, teaming up with them, helping them out every time the Shield comes out to attack them. Then what you do is and Sheamus and Big Show have history, so they're kind of iffy about it. He's iffy about it. Randy Orton's the voice of reason, so he wants to put him in a match at Mania, and he wants to have Big Show in the match at Mania. Oh, I'm just worried the webcam's gonna run out like it did last time. But and then you have Big Show, Sheamus, and Randy Orton in a tag match with 3MB, which is a Heath Slater, Jinder Mahal, and Drew McIntyre. Sheamus and Big Show were arguing all night, so then you had Sheamus blow kick Jinder Mahal for the win, and Big Show and Sheamus were arguing. But then the Shield they bumped into Randy. They all started arguing. The Shield comes out. They were able to work together, so they can work together. And then Sheamus is talking about how he still doesn't want Big Show to be his partner. But then the Shield attacks Sheamus. Orton tries to come with the chair, make the save, failed. And then Big Show comes up and he tries to attack him. And then you have the Shield later on the night have a match, which I like that they put them in a match because just so that Randy Orton, Sheamus, and Big Show aren't just looking strong. They can look strong themselves by being in a match. And they ended up facing Zack Ryder, Justin Gabriel, and the Great Khali. And it was a squash match, but the Shield is just so good. They made it look good. We have Dean Ambrose have Gabriel on his knees towards his back. Well, his knees towards his back. Then Seth Rollins jumps off the ropes and gives him a knee to the gut for the win. Then they attack the Great Khali, which I actually wanted them to do. And then Big Show, Sheamus, and Orton try to come get some payback. Shield escapes. So then later on in Raw, it was announced that the Shield will face Big Show, Sheamus, and Randy Orton. Before I forgot to predict who's gonna win, CM Punk or The Undertaker. CM Punk's not gonna beat the streak. Undertaker's still gonna win, and he's gonna get his redemption back. But as for the Shield versus Randy Orton, Big Show, and Sheamus, I think probably Who's gonna win? Oh, I think the Shield's gonna win because they have there's two reasons why. One, they are just looking so strong. They have so many wins under their belt. If you have them lose at Mania, it's just gonna be awful because they've beaten Team Hell and Ryback in a TLC match at Tables, Ladders, and Chairs. You had them beat John Cena, Ryback, and Sheamus at Elimination Chamber. And then the next night you had them beat Chris Jericho, Ryback, and Sheamus. And then you had him just win the match I talked about. So I think if you have them lose, it would just kill everything. Because if you have them win at Mania, they will be remembered forever. But if you have them lose, they will be remembered as losers. Have them be remembered as a dominant team by having them win at Mania. The second reason why is because I think Randy Orton's going to turn heel. He's not going to join with them. I think he's just going to turn on Sheamus. Because before that, before Royal Rumble time, Orton and Sheamus were having some problems. So I think those problems are going to finally come into fruition, and Orton's going to finally turn heel, and he's going to leave his team, and that's going to build to Sheamus and Orton finally having a feud. It's been overdone. Overdone. It's been like it's been like waited long enough. We waited long enough for Randy Orton to turn heel. And I think Mania is finally the right time to turn him heel. So that's my thoughts right there. Let's get on with the next thing. Alberto Del Rio and Jack Swagger's feud. This is another feud I'm actually enjoying. Alberto Del Rio and Jack Swagger, I think, are doing a pretty good job for a feud that for the world title, because the world title was like it seemed like it was always overlooked at Mania. It was overlooked last year, I think. I think Sheamus and Bryan could have done Daniel Bryan could have done better stuff last year, but they decided not to. Then you decided to have then Edge and Chris Jericho. They did okay stuff, but I actually didn't really mind what they did actually. But Chris Jericho and Edge did good, so I think last year is definitely the build for the world title has definitely improved since last year though. You have Jack Swagger though. Get him on this big losing streak, and he was jobbing at everyone. Brodus Clay, Zack Ryder, Santino Marella, Sheamus, all that stuff. And then you had leave for 6 months. He comes back, and I honestly think what they did with him was great when he brought them back. He came back, and he is just so much aggressive now. Like, he's just so aggressive in that win. When you get to the win, he's going to tear you apart now. Kofi Kingston, he was able to tear apart Santino. Like, I know that's not a big deal, but 6 months ago he wasn't even able to beat Santino, so that I think is an improvement. I might have to get that, by the way. But I think I have to go get that. I don't have to get that. Okay. Anyways, he was just beat it, and then you have him, everyone. Then you have him add Zeb Coulter, and they're talking about how they don't want the immigrants coming into the United States taking Americans' jobs, and that's a real life situation. And they're talking about like everything though. But first, Swagger won the Chamber, so this wouldn't have ever happened. He won the Chamber. He beat Orton, Jericho, Mark Henry, Kane, and Daniel Bryan. I liked how they did that. He did that. Then what you did was you had him build himself up. He's cutting great promos like him and Zeb Coulter together. How the immigrants shouldn't be taking jobs from the United States of America. And then you have him make these YouTube videos about how the immigrants are taking the jobs, how people have to learn a second language in high school, how there's a press 2 for Spanish on the answering machine. Like, it's just everything though. People in a different language on the drive-thru at McDonald's or something, which I don't know why he's going to McDonald's. But anyways, that's exactly what that is though. Then you have him, and Alberto Del Rio is actually doing great himself though too. He used to just come out, cut promos, my destiny to be world champion. Then that would mean nothing. They would mean nothing. Now it's like he's from the heart. How America is just, it's not just yours to take. It is everybody's. He's just like speaking from the heart, and he's just acting like and this is just making him look like more of a baby face than he's ever been. And what I also like is you have Alberto Del Rio and Ricardo Rodriguez, Mark, Jack Swagger, and Zeb Coulter, YouTube videos, but having them just talk about Canadians taking over the borders and Mexican food, and I thought that was great too. I mean, what I also like though is you're having them Jack Swagger build himself up, because this is the best that Swagger's looked in years. People say when he won the world title that he looked pretty good, but he wasn't. He still lost though. He lost like a bunch of matches and he never looked strong as a champion. He's looked actually this is probably the most the strongest that Jack Swagger's ever looked. He is beaten. He won the Chamber. He beat Daniel Bryan the next night. The next SmackDown he beat Randy Orton, and then for 2 weeks in a row he beat Chris Jericho. One fairly, one with helps. So I think though that Jack Swagger's look incredible. But what I like though about the feud, you make it more personal by having Jack Swagger attack Del Rio during a match with the Big Show first, and Del Rio ended up getting his ankle hurt, and he lost by countout. Then you had him after Del Rio defeated Cody Rhodes. He attacks Del Rio after. He attacked Ricardo Rodriguez though, and he broke his ankle to make the feud more personal. Then, while Alberto Del Rio was having a match with Antonio Cesaro, Jack Swagger came out and he threw Ricardo into the steps, and he tried to break his ankle more, but Alberto Del Rio stopped him and attacked Swagger, kicked him in the head. Swagger ran away, and you had more stuff happen. I would predict what's going to happen next, though, but I honestly don't know what's going to happen next with this feud. This is like a feud that's unpredictable. I have no idea what they're going with this, but who do I think should win? That depends. I don't think don't make Swagger lose because of the DUI, and just punish him after Mania, have him go on this random loser streak like The Miz did last year. Don't do that. Have if Swagger does lose, have him still look credible. What I think they should do is have Swagger win, have him hold the title for a while, and then drop it to Dolph Ziggler. But I think though what the thing that they could do, and I think this is kind of what I want, is to have Alberto Del Rio win, because I think though that they want that the reason that they had to put the title on Del Rio. But actually, this is what I thought at first, was because they needed a babyface for Ziggler to beat. And I think though that Mania, Ziggler's going to cash in Money in the Bank, and he's going to cash in on Del Rio, and he's going to win the world title, and then finally he gets his run as world champion. He needs the run. He needs it. But yeah, I really like this feud though. If I could see the feud continue, I actually would. But I don't know, and have Swagger get involved in a triple threat if Ziggler becomes champion. Have Swagger then after like Over the Limit or something, and whatever the next pay-per-view is, have the feud continue. I actually would love to see the feud continue. Have Swagger get a win on Del Rio though, if in that feud, then Del Rio look incredible. So I think that would be good. Now I'm going to talk about Triple H and Brock Lesnar's feud. People are trashing this because Brock Lesnar and Triple H are part-time wrestlers. I hear it everywhere. I don't agree with it. I don't agree with it because, like, one, Brock Lesnar can't really work with any current talent, and if he gets in the ring with them, they might end up like Cena did at Extreme Rules last year. Don't want to see that. And in a way, though, this feud's been built up properly, because I understand that they're part-time wrestlers, but this feud's just built up so good that I think they wanted to do it again, and I actually liked the match last year. At SummerSlam last year. I think that was great. because you had and it's just built up so well. Why not just have it again? Brock Lesnar's broken Triple H's arm twice, twice. The night after Extreme Rules and at SummerSlam, which caused Triple H to think about his career. Then you had Brock Lesnar break Shawn Michaels' arm. Then you have him break. Return, break Vince McMahon's man's hip, and you have to have him have hip replacement surgery. Then you have Triple H come back while Vince McMahon and Paul Heyman were having a fight. Vince McMahon, and when Brock Lesnar tries to come out and help Heyman. Triple H comes out and makes the save and attacks Triple H, Heyman, Brock Lesnar, and he gets busted open bad. Then Triple H challenges him the next week to a match at WrestleMania. The next week, Lesnar comes out, attacks the New Age Outlaws. Then Paul Heyman says that he will accept if after Triple H signs the contract for the stipulations. Then Paul Heyman and Triple H are having their contract signed. And what you do is you have Paul Heyman get into Triple H's mind. What you do is that's what you have happen. He have him say that Triple H could have his be blindfolded. He could have his hands handcuffed. And I thought that the stipulation was he had that the win got Stephanie McMahon. I honestly thought that was the stipulation. And he's like, wait, wouldn't the loser get Stephanie McMahon? And he just attacks Heyman. Then he signs the contract. Lesnar comes out. And I was disappointed that it was a no-holds-barred match. I think it should have probably been last man standing match or ambulance match. Something like that. Then what you did was you had Brock Lesnar, Triple H, and I do like that Triple H's career is on the line, so that's cool. And then the next week Triple H comes out and he says that he always feels that his career is on the line every time he steps in the ring, and that's what Brock Lesnar should be asking at Mania, and he's not going to come fight Lesnar. He is going to beat the hell out of him. So I think though that I don't know where they're going with this either, because they could have Brock Lesnar win, and because if Triple H is going to call it quits in the win, he's done wrestling. He's just going to be the COO. Boy, if Triple H still wants to wrestle, Triple H is winning this match. I think that Triple H might win this match though. But I thought that was good stuff. Then you have Wade Barrett come out though after his promo, interrupt Triple H, and Triple H blows him. What was that? That was hilarious. I thought that was awesome. And I think though that was a random thing, and I've always wanted, for some odd reason, to see Wade Barrett face Triple H. To be honest with you, it's just I've always wanted to see that. Good feud. But then if we get the next good thing is The Miz versus Wade Barrett. They had an amazing match, to be honest with you. I really liked their match. Half the match, though, you knew Miz was going to win, but I actually thought at some points Barrett was going to win. And he actually did a great job. They teased that Barrett was going to beat him the same way he did when he retained his title in the triple threat against The Miz and Chris Jericho. I think that was a great job right there. What I also liked is they had Wade Barrett at least look strong. I thought he was just going to look weak and nothing was going to get done, and he looked pretty strong. Barrett went for the big boot on the ropes and he missed, and so re-injuring his low spot. And Miz got him in the figure 4 leg lock. Barrett tapped out. So that on main event we found out it's going to be The Miz versus Wade Barrett for the Intercontinental title. I think that The Miz is probably going to win, and hopefully Wade Barrett gets a push to become world champion. I hope so. I honestly hope so. Hold on. So yeah, that's pretty much my thoughts right there. Then we have the possible Divas match at WrestleMania. So we see Team Hell No backstage, and Kane and they're arguing about Kane and Daniel Bryan are both in love with AJ, Caitlyn comes up and says that she's a crazy, and I think she went to say something else. And then AJ attacks her, and she says, "I was told you're crazy." And then later on, they had a match, and AJ won by countout with no offense. I usually don't talk about the Divas, but I think though that I had to this time. This match, Divas match, though, probably will be crap because it's a Divas match. They don't care about the Divas, and people say that AJ Lee should get the Divas title. I don't agree with you. AJ Lee's too good for the Divas title. Even if they say that they would have the Divas title would look really well, it's gonna be like Devon holding the TV title. It's just a flop, or worse, the Eric Young and ODB holding the TNA Knockouts Tag Team Championships. Flops. I honestly think that's what's gonna happen. It's just gonna be a flop still. AJ will never defend it, never come out with it. That's honestly what I think is gonna happen. That's just what's gonna happen. And then we have something that I've been waiting to talk about, but we just couldn't talk about it. We have John Cena and The Rock's feud. This feud. Dude, ask me if The Rock wasn't on Raw this time, I probably would have been not interested. Because the last two Raws before this, The Rock wasn't on it. And one of them, Cena wasn't on it. And Cena was on one of them, but he didn't hype up the match, and there was nothing to it. I have to say, though, that I was in more into last year's match, not because it was the first time ever, because they actually hyped it up, the match. They actually hyped the match up. The Rock was on every Raw, and I understand, The Rock's going to be busy doing movies, but The Rock's the WWE champion. He's got to be on Raw. But this was a Q&A, but I really liked the storyline, how Cena wants to get redemption after he had lost last year to The Rock at WrestleMania, and that sent his life with a tailspin. They brought up Brock Lesnar attacking him losing to John Laurinaitis. I think though that this should have been on there. Him failing at cashing in Money in the Bank, him losing it. AJ breaking his heart and losing to Dolph Ziggler at TOC. Him and his wife getting divorced, which I don't really know what that has to do with The Rock, unless his wife was mad that he lost to The Rock at Mania, so she didn't think John Cena was good enough for her. I don't know. Then you have this thing tonight. You had John Cena and The Rock, and they're gonna have a Q&A session. It was hosted by Jerry the King Lawler, and this Q&A session, it wasn't bad. I actually thought this was gonna be bad. The people you had was Mick Foley, Booker T, Dusty Rhodes. Let me think. There was somebody else. It was five. Oh, and no, there was four. Bret Hart. I actually wasn't expecting Bret the Hitman Hart to be in it. But I was kind of expecting Booker, Mick, but I wasn't expecting Dusty, but it was just kind of whaley. But Bret was a surprise to me. Then what I really liked was you had the questions some of them asked. Cena and The Rock are talking about how Mick Foley's question though was how he was a little. Well, first he said that he was a little bit. That he was relieved because him and Rock had at WrestleMania 20 had a match against Evolution, and he lost the match, and he thought that was going to be The Rock's last Mania, so he was relieved when The Rock beat Cena. So he's wondering though how Cena will react if he fails again. And Cena said though that if you had asked him last year, failure would not have been an option, losing would have been an option, but this year it is. And I forget. And this year, if I lose, it's going to be the same thing, and The Rock has no idea what failure is about. Then he talks about how when he was a kid, he had to get a bed from a hotel dumpster, which was kind of gross, and he talks about how he's going to be and he's gonna and how when he came to the WWE, I think he broke his neck, I think, or knee. He got an injury, so he was told to go home. Then he came back and he said, give him a microphone, and he lost to the Stone Cold Steve Austin at WrestleMania, and he felt like a failure. So he does know what failure is. Then Booker T, no, Bret Hart asked if what the relationship's like now compared, because he doesn't want it to be like a Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart kind of feud. And John Cena says that him and The Rock have never hung out after Mania, and that he took his loss like a man and he owned up to it. The Rock said he respected him for that. He didn't whine, he didn't complain, but he's just not the man that he used to be. Mick Foley asked, no, Booker T asked, and he brags that he's been in the ring with both of them, that why does he have to beat The Rock? No, why does he want to beat The Rock at Mania? He says because he has to. Then The Rock's like, really? Because you have to? That's why? Because you have to? Cena says, you didn't beat me. You didn't beat me. I made a stupid decision. I decided to beat you with the old move, and you didn't beat me because I had your ass beat. The Rock then says that The Rock says that he didn't beat me. Cause if you had beat me, you already would have beaten me. I kicked out of the AA, and then I hit with the rock bottom, and you lost. And then he says that, and then he quotes Ric Flair, and he says, to beat the man, you gotta beat the man. Then Cena says that he wants to, Dusty Rhodes asks Cena what he wants. Cena says that he wants to beat The Rock at Mania and have him have the same, like embarrassment that Cena had last year. The Rock says that he won't, and then The Rock and Cena go to have some physical contact about time, and The Rock gives him the rock bottom and leaves. So lots of good stuff on Raw. Well, so far. But I really liked what they did. The Rock and Cena finally have some physical contact. Who I think is going to win? Cena's going to win. Cena's going to win, become champion, and then we're going to get the match next year at Mania. Watch it happen. Watch it happen. I know that's going to happen. And then this is from main event. Kane versus Antonio Cesaro with Daniel Bryan on commentary. Kane and Antonio Cesaro didn't have a bad match. Cesaro though came out talked about how he kind of, I don't know, I'm not even gonna talk about what he was, but Kane though and Daniel Bryan had a pretty good match. Cesaro tried to wear him down with the uppercuts. He did everything he could. AJ Lee ended up coming out and skipping around, but Daniel Bryan stopped him and he went, no. Then Kane hit the choke slam for the win. Fine match. It was a fine match. I just wanted to bring that up. Now this is TNA. Aces and Eights thoughts. If you would ask, like, Bully Ray, when he was finally revealed, it's like, what happened to the old Aces and Eights? This is not the same Aces and Eights, like it's the same people as it was before Bully Ray was in it. Aces and Eights lost every match, and Aces and Eights never got any wins. They didn't even look strong at all. Good job. Good job. Bully Ray joined in was the best in it. And I liked the week before how they mentioned the story behind it. How you have Bully Ray talk about how he screwed at Brooke Hogan, and how Devon joined, how Mr. Anderson joined. I'm not going to really talk about it too much, but Mr. Anderson joined because he was getting attacked by Aces and Eights, the locker room did nothing. Garrett Bischoff and tried to help Hulk Hogan, but he failed. And Wes Briscoe used Angle to get into the TNA, and you know what the funny thing was? The judge was D'Lo Brown and Taz. I don't know if Taz was in it yet, but I know D'Lo was. But some of the stuff they went a little bit too in depth with, like they talked about James Storm, how he used to, I remember that they used to accuse James Storm of being the president of the Aces and Eights, and how Bobby Roode cost James Storm the Bound for Glory match against Bully Ray. So some of the stuff was a little over the top, I will admit. Some of the stuff was over the top, not unneeded. and how Hulk Hogan locked him out. So some of the I really like, but other than that though, the story though was a fine story, and the Aces and Eights are starting to look strong now. Tonight Wes Briscoe, Garrett Bischoff, and Doc defeated Kurt Angle, Eric Young, and James Storm. Good job, and they're just doing a good job, I think, with the Aces and Eights. Now they have the world title. The TV title really means nothing now, and you have them having and like no one's on the same side anymore. It seems. Sting and Hulk Hogan are like fighting all the time now. I think that's awesome. I think it's a good job. I think it's a good job what they're doing with this group. And I think they should continue what they're doing. Have them look strong. Have them look. You don't have to have them look strong. Have them look strong for a while, though. And next week, Jeff Hardy's going to be facing Bully. No, 2 weeks at Corpus Christi, I think it's called. Jeff Hardy's going to invoke his rematch clause against Bully Ray in a Full Metal Mayhem match. I didn't write that down because that has to do with the Aces and Eights. Another thing I liked about the show was Chavo Guerrero and Hernandez versus Bad Influence versus Christopher Daniels and Kazarian, and the winners become the #1 contenders for the tag team titles. I really liked this match. This match was good. You have Chavo Guerrero and Hernandez going off the ramp because it's like one of those big ramps and doing like a double clothesline on Christopher Daniels and Kazarian. And you have like constant tag team moves, double team tag team moves in this match. Chavo tries to go for the spot, and you have Daniels and Kazarian trying to cheat by Daniels trying to pin him, and Christopher Kazarian holds Hernandez's feet, fails. Kazarian tries to pin Hernandez while holding his feet on the ropes, failed. But then Chavo hits the Fox Blast on Christopher Daniels for the win, and they become #1 contenders. The only bad part about it, though, is TNA doesn't really have any tag teams. Those are really the only tag teams have Rude, Aries, Chavo and Hernandez, and Bad Influence. That's really it. So I think they should have just been a triple threat tag team match. Now I put thoughts on Taryn Terrell, like as a diva now. She's okay. I don't really mind her. Like she's kind of like I like the feud between Gail Kim and Taryn Terrell. I think it's better than what they're doing with the WWE divas, I will say. And I really liked all the how Taryn Terrell got fired. Now she's back as a diva. So I'm fine with the feud. I'm not really completely against it, but I'm not completely with it. So that's my thoughts on the feud right there, and I think it's gonna continue for a while. Hulk Hogan and Sting segment. Why are they the reason why I wrote this down is because it looks like they're gonna do another Hulk Hogan and Sting match. Because when Hulk Hogan told him to leave, Sting and Hogan were about to get into it. Nobody wants to see Hulk Hogan versus Sting. Why? Why does anyone want to see that? Why? I honestly don't want to see Hulk Hogan versus Sting. Nobody wants to see Hulk Hogan versus Sting. What's the point though? I'm not gonna. Hopefully that this is just a tease. And then I put AJ Styles thoughts. I love what they're doing with AJ Styles. You have him disappear, then you have him film his house like he's like on drugs or alcohol, and you have him come back and you have him save James Storm, and then you have him turn heel and attack James Storm, and then you have him get interviewed the next week. He doesn't say anything, and James Storm offers to fight him, but then he leaves, and I guess Taz tried to get him to join the Aces and Eights, by the way. I don't know if he will. Then James Storm tries to call him out in open fight night. He never comes down. Aces and Eights attacks, and he just leaves. I like it, but I like it because it's a great thing. It seems like it's new. And another thing is when James Storm was like doing nothing before then, and now he's finally in something. I was kind of mad about that, but now he's finally in a feud now, so I like that. Then we have the new X Division rules. There's new rules for the X Division title now. It's like you have to be. I think I'm going to read the article to you actually. I think I can find it somewhere. Let's see. Wrestling news. Let me see if I can find. Oh, here we go, right here. I think this is it. I think this might be it. Well, I'm right here a second. Hold on, I have to find it. I'm just gonna read it because this isn't it, so hold on. There we go, right here. X Division rules, wrestling news. Oh crap, please tell me my thing didn't. Okay, it's still uploading. I better hurry up and do this then. New X Division title rules, where is it? Here we go, new X Division title rules. Let me go up a little. Alright, I'm going to read this article to you. I found it on the Wrestling News, but it is true because it was on TNA, so it's not like it's a rumor. Ready? It was announced on this week, well, this was last week, but it was announced on this week's episode of Impact that the X Division will now be bidden by a new set of I suck at reading, by the way, guidelines. Distinguishing I can't find what that is, but hopefully they don't hear that. Distinguishing it from other matches on the show. For the foreseeable future, all X Division sanctioned bouts will involve 3 wrestlers under triple threat rules. There will also be a weight limit of 230 pounds to compete in the division. To put that in that perspective, muscle-bound Christian York is 220 pounds, so he's about the measuring stick of who can take part. The wrestler pinned in the X Division Championship match is eliminated from a future title match, while the wrestler who isn't involved in the decision gets to compete in the next X Division title match. So where will the next contender come from? New contenders will also be decided via triple threat matches. Fresh faces, former champions, or recently eliminated contenders all will battle, with one winner advancing into the next X Division title match. Originally, the X Division concept was an evolution of the WCW/WWE cruiserweight idea. Instead of weight limits, it was pronounced as no limits. As long as the wrestlers could go out there and deliver a breathtaking and risk-taking performance, it would be considered X Division. While this still generally adhered to a small fry of wrestlers under the 20-pound mark, past champions such as Sonny, Sasuke, Samoa Joe, Abyss, and Kurt Angle are examples of no-limit marking. The 3-way rule will probably be the most criticized aspect of the new guidelines. And anything is better than the lackluster run of RVD, who was either booked to be meaningless or was simply phoning it in during the tail end of his career. Having regular triple threat matches will bring some much needed excitement back to the X Division. 3 people flying around the ring will more often than not keep a viewer's attention over just 2 men taking fight, but in terms of storyline development, it could end up being limited in the future. Of course, TNA may decide that on pay-per-views that one-on-ones or larger matches of... Oh, crap. Are you shitting me? It was almost done. Oh, I'm still recording. That's great. I just had a little bit of an internet connection right there. Internet loss. Alright, I don't know whether I was recording, so if you see me pissed, that's why. Am I still recording? Yeah. Let me get up here a little bit. I don't know why I put my knees down on the floor. But yeah, that was pretty much it though. I think that could be great because it could bring some new faces, because now we have Mason Andrews and P.D. Williams, and we're going to have Gut Check next week with Adam Pearce and Magno. That could be good, but that's my thoughts on wrestling. I think wrestling's looking really good right now. Some of them it looks bad, but I just covered the positive stuff. So the positive stuff, that's what I think. But that's pretty much it, guys. See you later. Hold on, let me just stop the recording. And if this video looks bad, I'm using the YouTube webcam, so my apologies, I guess. I don't know.